Alright, so welcome back. I got started on this last night and I was listening to music on the phone, so I didn't really set up and record. Probably should have more than one device, but you can see I'm working on feathers and the top of a hat. Kind of like this guy, but instead of leaves, I'm doing feathers and maybe leaves in the background. I don't know. We'll see how far we get. It all depends. All depends. But I don't know if anybody else does it, but I use these. They make templates: small, medium, large, feather outlines. Just seems a lot easier than drawing it by hand every time. But every once in a while, I got to make a new template, which I did yesterday before I got started. And if you can get your hands on the Uncrustable boxes, they are some nice free template material. Because that's, what was it? One of those shows I used to watch cartoons on: recycle, reduce, reuse, close the loop. The same one. I was like, in a minute. I can't remember what network it is. I probably wouldn't be allowed to say it if I could either. Oh, they get shut down. Oh, he's talking about a corporation. Yeah. And then in recent times, these have really become my new friends for a lot of things. These are awesome tools. As long as you keep them sharp, they can do most anything. They're real helpful on these branches sort of stuff, or doing leaves and feathers. It's what it's how I figured it out, I think, one day. It was one of the few things I just sat and thought about. I don't remember watching a video or anything about feathers or how to layer leaves. I just started thinking about it one day, and finally this is how I came up to do it within my mind. It's like to give the depth of everything that you're doing. Let's see if I can adjust that a little more. I know. Keeping them stropped is the key. Or, I really should say, whatever your manufacturer, the company you use, says. It's like, I know Flex Cut is what I like, and they encourage stropping, and I do that before I carve and when I take breaks in videos. That's when there's a part one, part two. It's usually because I'm stropping or getting up to move around. I don't know, many things. But it's all about the appearance of depth. And I've been home a lot more than I normally am, so I've had excess time in the last 10 months to sit and carve and play and learn how to do things. And the layering of the feathers and the leaves happens, my green man and things like this happen to be one of my favorite. So therapeutic. Try to move my hand so you guys can see a little more what I'm doing as I'm doing it. I'm not really trained. It's like I never took a class. I just watch people carving on YouTube. It's like, and it's amazing. Really, the stuff you can learn just by sometimes watching people carve. I mean, that's how I got into carving. It's kind of, my father was a chainsaw wood sculptor for a very long time. And I was in like kindergarten when he was doing it professionally. And that's what introduced me to the world of carving and art and all of those things, was sitting there and watching him carve chainsaws in the driveway all the time. To the point even, I don't know if it was my 5th or my 6th birthday, I can't remember, but I got 2 toy chainsaw sets for my birthday that year. It was awesome. I used to stand like 20, 30 feet away and watch him carve, and as he carved, I would sit there in the driveway or the yard, probably in the yard really, and I would air carve with my toy chainsaws. It's like I would air carve all the time. He was out there carving, I was out there with my toy chainsaws, just having a blast. It's like, it was pretty cool. Especially when you're a kid. It's like, think about it. You're 5 years old, and all of a sudden your father, who's a carpenter, or a woodworker really, decides to quit being a, finished carpenter and quits it all to go be a chainsaw wood artist. It's what got me into carving. Then it's like I didn't start carving really about 5 years ago maybe. It's like is when I started playing, long after he passed. It's like, so the only time, I don't know if we really talked carving, but I watched him carve a lot. I always enjoyed it, so I started doing it probably for a way for me to feel some sort of connection with him, I guess. But it's like, not to digress on that, some other time maybe I'll do a video on that. It's like it's become almost an addiction. It's like it's so therapeutic and so fun, and it's like I figure, I'm sure my neighbors think I'm crazy because they hear me talking all the time to you folks. And they know that during the day my son's at school, and at night me and him watch crazy old sitcoms and laugh. So probably like, who's that guy talking to? Like, I'm probably going crazy. I got to make sure you can see. I'm bad about that. It's like being new to being filming and carving. It's like the wonderful world of new technology. It's like I've often wondered how, like my father did all this back in the late 80s when there was no cell phones. It's like, or internet. All of a sudden he was carving in the driveway, and then he was carving on off the highway in Buffalo, Minnesota at the 76. And then Husqvarna was sponsoring him. He was doing things with Armatron. He carved the oldest tree in Chicago at one point. Just these things that are just mind-blowing to think. It's like, and you did this all without the internet. You did this all with just telephone and newspapers and calling news stations, and it's pretty interesting. It's like to see where it's been and where it's going, so you guys can see that's what I do, and that's kind of where I start with it. Eventually they have this nice little layered look of here's the front one, and then they just keep tucking them behind and shaping them and cleaning them and shaping them and cleaning them. And this thing is an amazing tool. It's like a stiff brush has changed my world. Although I do need to go to the toy store and get some micro chisels. Here, it's snowing today, so that ain't happening. Not happening at all on a snow day. I lived in the South most of my life. I'm not a snow individual per se. I like the South. That's where I spent most of my life until recently, until I was born here. But yeah, it's like I don't necessarily enjoy driving in the snow. Not too bad up here. They take pretty good care of the roads, but it's more sometimes the drivers scare me. It's like, well, just slow down. We're not trying to die here. We're just trying to go from school to the apartment. You know, so I mean, it's interesting. Get more carving done when it snows. It's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. We're gonna eat pizza and continue He-Man, Master of the Universe series on DVD with my little boy tonight. It'll be awesome. I don't have, we just watch old TV shows. We don't have the internet hooked up to the TV. I don't know why. I just don't. It's kind of nice that way. But yeah, it's like, so now we're rediscovering old cartoon shows. You probably can't even see what I'm doing. And he seems to like them. He seems real excited. So that's cool, man. It's like passing it on to the younger kids. It's like He-Man is awesome. If you haven't watched the old episodes, they are unique. I remember being a child when that was kind of brand new TV. I know, I mean, when I was watching it, it probably already hit reruns at that point. I think it came out in 81, 82. So around the time I was born. There, got the outline done. So I'm going to take my chisel and do that. It's like, feathers are pretty interesting. It's like, I've just really started doing them in the past probably 5 months, I'm guessing, roughly. It's like, and once I figured out how I wanted to do them or how I thought they should be done, it was real cool. I think I watched about 4 or 5 different guys doing videos on how to do relief carvings of just feathers. I mean, so many good people out there to watch on YouTube. I mean, that's pretty much what got me into doing the hand carving with the knives. I didn't really, understand that people were whittling or carving, whatever you want to call it. I mean, like this with knives and stuff in an apartment. It's like, because I live in an apartment, so I'm able to have a little work area where my table would be, so to speak. Makes it pretty easy to, do it in an apartment, which is nice with the chisels and everything. But yeah, YouTube is awesome for that. It's like, you want to learn to do something, just type it into YouTube and they can find it for you. And if they can find it, you can watch it. I mean, I learned so many things just because of YouTube's availability. It's like, can't really beat that. but on the one that I did yesterday, after it dries out, dries up, I'm going to try some watercolors on it so I can keep the grain that I like, but not have a little more color on it too, because color is important. Sometimes it's nice to have color on your sculptures. Sometimes it is not. Just realized as I do this, I should have my apron on. I had a really nasty scar in June, I think it was. I wasn't wearing my glove when I should have been. As you can always see, I'll try to have a cut glove on at least one hand. You know, and it's nice because they got grippers on them, and you don't slice your hand open. Well, I didn't have one, and I got a really nasty scar right here. You know, because I wasn't thinking. So it's like, that's the other thing I always say. People, it's like the glove in at least one hand. I mean, it's hard to have it in this hand because you want to be able to find motor skills and all, but this hand, you know, sharp knives are nice, but your hands are nice too. I mean, having hands is awesome. Alright, I'm going to keep going on this, and when I get to the next step, once I get the feathers all worked out, I'll start doing this, and I'll probably start a video on that too. So, hope you all have a good Friday.